Ricky viene desde Londres, es del equipo global de Mindshare para Nestlé. En este momento Ricky está trabajando con el equipo de México en préstamo. Ya quisiéramos que viniera a préstamo también para acá. Y bueno, los dejo entonces con la segunda parte. Vamos a ir hasta las 12. La idea es hacer más o menos 1 hora y 15, 1 hora y 20 de la exposición que tiene él. 5 minutos mientras les vamos pasando a todos varias USBs para que en equipos hagamos un ejercicio al final, antes de terminar.
Entonces te mandaste por correo, ¿sabes?
Sí, ahora.
Si no, pues en la USB.
En la USB, ahí veremos cómo lo hacemos. Entonces, los dejo con Ricky y all yours.
Thank you. Well, first off, thanks for inviting me to come and talk to you today about Poem. I jumped at the opportunity to come to Colombia. I've never been before, and so far I've been very impressed. Been to Cartagena, lovely place. Went out last night, fantastic food. Fantastic. I mean, ooh, this is new. What's going on here? Which one? That one? That one? All right, so as you can tell, my Spanish is useless. All right, so things like that will throw me. It's not coming out? Louder. Can I speak louder? Okay. Right, I'll speak louder. I thought the microphones would be projected, but they're not. That's for these guys, isn't it? Okay, I get it now. It's all coming clear. Okay, so I'm here to present Poem. I didn't understand the introduction, but I'll do it again just in case. I'm Ricky Chopra. I'm the Global Digital Lead for Nestlé at Group M and the author of Poem. So I'm the guy that's responsible for this. So I hope it makes sense, and I hope that you enjoy what you see. So we thought it'd be a good place to start is just explaining what Poem is. So Poem is paid, owned, earned media. Very simple. I think we all understand what paid media is, but this is a definition that was handed down to us from Tom Boudet, who is the global head of marketing at Nestlé. And he says paid media is whereby a brand pays for media from a third party. And we probably recognize it in these two forms, digital and offline. So we've seen display ads, banner advertising, paid search, Facebook ads, TV, print, radio. We've been doing this stuff for a very long time, so we should all be very familiar with this. Owned media, whereby brands develop their own proprietary media and content. Okay, what does that mean? Well, it's your website, it's your fan page in, Facebook, it could be your Twitter page, but also it's your point of purchase, it's packaging and employee communications. Now, the last time I ever did this presentation, Nestlé had some 300,000 employees. Group M has 100,000 employees. That's 400,000 employees that can be talking about your brands. So, again, that's owned media. That's an owned asset. How do you actually, maximize that? I think Nestlé are doing a very good job. They have Chatter. I don't know how many of you are on Chatter, but they have a great platform for communicating. So, they understand the impact of employees. This is where it gets a little bit more complicated. Earned media, whereby brands trigger their audience to advocate, generate, and propagate media. Now, we've defined an audience as a group or assembly of consumers, professionals, non-professionals, bloggers, and journalists. That's just about everybody. In the digital space, I think we're more familiar with earned media. So again, social network, likes, comments, shares. We have blog posts, forum posts, UGC. UGC stands for user-generated content, but I'm going to refer to it now as UGC because this is quicker. Ratings and reviews on sites like Amazon, conversations happening online. We're not so familiar maybe with the offline, so influencers and stakeholders. Well, an influencer could be a DJ on radio talking about your brand. It could be a celebrity, just happen to be in camera with one of your brands. That's an influencer and stakeholder. Press coverage, I think we're all familiar with PR. Word of mouth. This is interesting, word of mouth. I was running a project for Nestlé on advocacy, and they said, how do we measure all of the word of mouth that's happening. How do we know what people are talking about around the water coolers? And I said, well, there's only one way to do that, and that's actually to plug all the water coolers. And I'm not sure people are going to let you do that, and who would have the time to listen to it. So we know this happens, but we can't truly understand the amount. And then we have user-generated content, or it used to be called direct expression, but we prefer user-generated content. So, about 2 years ago, I was tasked with developing a framework that helped Nestlé and our partners understand how we utilize paid, owned, and earned to generate incremental reach. So, the goal of the POEM framework is to generate incremental reach by encouraging and enabling consumers to like, share, comment, and generate brand stories. Yeah? Does that make sense to everyone? Very simple. That's pretty much what we're doing. Now, when I talk about earned media, at this moment in time, we're only looking at the volume of earned media. We're not looking really into the value of earned media yet. That's something that we're going to be doing soon. So, POEM the Nestlé way. Incredibly simple diagram that explains an incredibly complex ecosystem. We've always done paid and owned, yeah? Hundreds of years we've had paid and owned. The introduction of earned changed things. So the introduction of social media and the actual ability to have a one-to-one conversation with the consumer, also listen to the consumer's conversations and learn from that, that's a game changer. So how do we actually use our existing paid and owned assets and maximize them to help us generate earned? And in this case, earned is media impressions derived from paid and owned. So what we've devised is a very simple framework where we say all paid and owned should drive one of these three calls to action: discover, share, shop. And I don't know if you're familiar with the work of James Knott, who developed the Close the Sale Accelerator, and that's where it comes from, and that's the connection. So what we're saying is that your paid assets, in addition to driving awareness on TV, you could also have maybe a call to action that brings people to discover more on your website, or share, their consumption moment in Facebook, for example, or drives them to shop, tells them that there's a partner that they can go and see, there's a coupon they could download, whatever it may be. Okay. Now, just wanted to highlight that Nestlé are doing this, and this is a great example of this. So this is a multi-pack Kit Kat, and they have a discover call to action and a share call to action. And they actually, Kit Kat are very good. They have a QR code on most of their bars, even the two-finger ones, and they always have a join us at Facebook. So they're doing a really good job. They've been one of the leading brands in this sort of paid and earned space. So I'll be showing you lots of examples of their work, because I do like Kit Kat. Okay, so the call to action weightings are pretty much dependent on your primary communications objectives. That's obvious, isn't it? Because if you're a new brand, if you're launching a new product, then you really want to have more calls to action that are on discover. So simple. However, if your objective is to increase sales, what do you think the primary calls to action will be? Something like that. So again, you can understand, what is your communication objective, which calls to action do I use? And if you need to know any more about this, I suggest that you look at the Close the Sale Accelerator. It has lots of helpful hints and guides and tips on which calls to action to use at which moments in time, depending on the sort of purchase funnel. And I think that's available on the chatter group and within Nestlé's Nest. Okay, so you ask, why is earned media important? So I have 4 media truths that highlight the importance of earned media here. So first, I start with this one because we thought 3 or 4 years ago that paid media would be dying off and that we would all be enjoying lots of organic earned media. And I think Facebook has scuppered that idea. I think the organic reach on Facebook is now lower than 3%. When we started, it was 16. So it's obvious to us that paid media is still critical in getting scale. You're not going to get scale through earned media alone. In fact, we when we come to predict earned media, we factor in the amount of paid first. Trust. 92% of consumers say they trust earned media from their friends and family above all forms of other advertising. This is so simple to understand. That if your friends sent you an email saying, hey, watch this video, you're more likely to watch the video than if a brand sent you an email saying, watch our video. Do we all believe that? Yeah, it's a media truth. We know it to be true. Video views. In 2013, there was a 16% increase in the number of people who watched a video based on personal recommendation versus those who discovered it organically. So again, we can see that personal recommendation is what's driving earned media, is what's driving virality. And then finally, receptivity. Consumers are 5 times more receptive to brand stories coming from their peers. Now, this is a piece of work that was actually done as part of the brand advocacy toolkit. So again, consumers are more receptive to brand stories coming from their peers. They're more trusting of brand story coming from their peers. So what are we trying to do here? We're trying to get people to share our brand stories, to retell our brand stories in their own voice, because that makes it much more believable. Example of this, if I told you, I've just bought an espresso machine, I absolutely love it, you need to get one, at least try it. You know, next time you're in a store, try it. Chances are, the next time you're in a store, you're going to try it, because it's more believable me telling you that I love an espresso than Nespresso telling me you'll love Nespresso. That makes sense, doesn't it? We all believe that, don't we? Good. I call these media truths because there have been studies done to prove this, but if you want to prove this in your market, then you're going to have to work with the likes of Kantar or something to actually prove this. Okay, so this is something that I've been working on recently, which is trying to understand format, destination, impact. So we have a big idea. And your big idea needs to live across all paid media. Yeah, so in this example, we've got paid search, display, pre-roll, which is video that's okay. Yeah, I think that is that better? No, that's not on now. Shall I carry on, or do you want to wait for the microphone? Okay, I'll use this now as a pointer. So we've got paid search display, pre-roll video, which is played before the actual program, paid social, which you understand, you know, Facebook, so on and so forth, paid mobile, TV, print, out of home. Yeah, I was asked this morning, what is OOH? It's out of home. In this example here, we have paid search and display driving people to the website. The website's connected to the entire ecosystem. Pre-roll is on YouTube, paid social on Facebook, paid mobile to your mobile site. TV is driving, in this example, to e-commerce, so is print. Out of home is driving to a Twitter handle, which is connected to the entire ecosystem. So there we have format, destination, and now impact. So this is the earned media. What we derive from this is a deeper, what the consumer derives from this is a deeper product understanding. We've improved receptivity because we've said that consumers are more receptive to brand stories being told by their peers, being shared, so on and so forth. We've driven incremental reach, so we're able to reach the consumer that isn't actually TV, but their friends are and have shared something in Twitter. We can manage our reputation, so we can understand what conversations are people having online and how can we shape them. We can enable consumers to share consumption. So again, in my Nespresso example, I love Nespresso. I'll tell people, my friends, oh, this is a great thing, you should get it. I'm sharing my consumption moment. Hopefully, we can increase sales. If we're driving people into e-commerce, we can increase sales. We can increase the number of consumer reviews. And again, a consumer review is much more powerful than our own review. Us writing a product description is great, gives a consumer an understanding, but an actual consumer writing a review for you is much more powerful, much more believable, and consumers have more trust in this. And we can inform product development. So I'm going to show you some examples of where we've listened to the consumers and we've changed our messaging, our marketing, even the product itself. Does this all make sense? Everyone still hear me? Good. Okay, so what I wanted to do is just show you that Poem's not exclusive to Nestle. Other brands are doing this. So I just wanted to highlight some brands and some things that they're doing, just to give you an idea, of what we can do here. So I start with Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is all about sharing happiness. The pursuit of happiness lies at the core of human endeavours. People around the world aspire to lead happy and fulfilling lives. Coke has taken this basic human truth and placed it at the core of a big idea: share happiness. We're all familiar with share happiness, aren't we? Yeah? So let's have a look at a few examples. So Coca-Cola creates loads of video content. They produce hundreds of videos. And it's all about, this idea of sharing happiness. And so they amplify these videos in YouTube, on TV, wherever it may be. Their online content is really focused on happiness. Yeah, even Pharrell's sung them an anthem now. If you go onto their site, it's full of stories from the brand about how people are creating happiness with other people, and so on and so forth. But in addition to that, what I love is that they're taking, people are meaning this, people are copying Coke's example of sharing happiness and how to tell an emotional story. And they're creating their own brand stories. Coca-Cola is taking these brand stories and is actually putting them into their own website. So when you go onto the Coke website, you will see stories that they produced and you see content from consumers. So all of a sudden, their load on producing content is dramatically reduced. They have believable content because it's coming from consumers, which we know and we trust. So, great example there. I think I've got a video here.
The relationship between India and Pakistan is one that has seen a lot of blows.
It's stressful, it's tense. It seems it's not improving and it's getting worse.
It's only been 60 years that we have been apart. Before that, we were living harmoniously together.
If you all strike to go away, you took away the bug rather than the two countries.
It saddens me that we have paper that we can't even go visit.
Enhanced perception of it is way in the heck the bad guy. But when they actually meet him, they realize, just like me.
Mainly because there's no communication. They're near us, but we have no access to them. And it's sad. Because together, I think we would do wonders.
Coca-Cola doing what they do very well, creating emotional videos, very clever idea, sharing happiness. with people from 2 different countries that are separated by a border. I just wanted to show you that video because that video is, you look at it and say, okay, what's the poem about that? Well, Coke understand that people love to share emotional stories. They love to share stories with their friends that make them warm inside and want their friends to feel the same way. Yeah? People don't share these stories of Coke. People share these stories because they love their friends. Yeah? And they want social collateral. They need to have a, think about the modern world. We're connected with all of our friends all of the time. What do we have to talk about? We need collateral. We need stories to share so we can keep the conversation going because the communication lines are permanently open. So Coke get that. Now what I did for all of these examples I'm going to show you is a format, destination, impact. I'm only going to show you one of them. In the deck that we'll leave you, we'll have all of them that you can go through. So again, paid media, Coke used pre-roll on YouTube. They used contextual video advertising to seed emotional videos about sharing. So what I mean by that is, if you typed in any number of keywords, Coke would appear. Anything that they felt was relevant for their brand. They used paid social to build buzz around the Share Happiness campaign. So they seeded this story in social media first and hoped that their consumers would latch onto it and then start sharing it themselves because they were connected with it. And digital media, all their digital media drives consumers to Coke's website. So that's their central hub. So their own media. Coke's website and social profiles feature curated consumer stories, so user-generated content. The content on Coke's site is focused on stories about happiness, as I've explained. Coke mobile site enables consumers to share a Coke. So I don't know if you've all seen this, but you can actually download an app or you actually use their mobile site and actually just pick a friend from your Facebook group and send them a Coke, and they can go and redeem that. And that's a way of getting you to share Coke's story again for the price of a Coke. Online creative and content features hashtags to encourage conversation, so they understand how people are talking and they enable that. So the impact in earned media. Emotional videos are shared with their friends and generate incremental reach for Coke. In fact, that video was developed in India, but is seen all over the world. So good news for Coke. Consumers are more receptive and trusting of UGC content on Coke's site. Consumers sharing a Coke with friends increased trial of the product. I don't know that Coke actually needs to increase trial of the product. Very few people on planet Earth that haven't tasted a Coke. I'm addicted to it, by the way. Incorporating UGC in paid and owned gives media impact and encourages consumers to produce content. So what are they doing there? That's an interesting thing. Consumers are telling brand stories, and then they amplify the brand stories, which encourages other consumers to create brand stories for Coke. Why? Because everybody wants that moment of fame. Everybody wants to be seen and heard in this busy world. And Coke understand that. So I've got another example here. I said I'll be showing you a lot of Kit Kats. And here's one, Kit Kat have a desire to own brakes. We're all familiar with this. So I just wanted to show you some ideas of what they're doing. Their TVC is seeded online to generate incremental reach. And I don't know if all of you have seen this baby video that they produced in India. But I'm not got the preference for India. There's just a few good examples coming out of that country at the moment. And they generate 3% earned media. Yeah, they did invest a lot in paid, so they generate 43% in earned media because the video was cute, it was fun, it was new, it was innovative. People hadn't seen it before, it was clever. And guess what? When you produce a video like that, people share it. Because again, it's cultural collateral. Have you seen the baby video? This is really cute. And again, if you want to drive earned media, babies and dogs. Simple. And it's two things that you do very well, babies and dogs. It's great for you. They create content about things to do during your breaks. And the fantastic thing about where Kit Kat's head is at, is they understand that we have these micro breaks. It's not a case of I'm going on an hour lunchtime. It's a case of I'm going to have 5 minutes headspace where I'm not going to look at this screen. I'm going to look at, my mobile. I know it's one screen for another, but there you go. So they produce micro content. They produce these short, funny little videos that are between 5 and 20 seconds long that you can consume quite quickly, have a little chuckle about, and share. you know, and it's all mobile enabled, so all of their videos play on mobile, so they're all optimized for mobile, because they understand that your break isn't actually while you're at your laptop. Your break is the moment where you go away and you stand outside for 5 minutes, get some fresh air, go and have a walk around the office and have a look at your mobile phone. And they react quickly to global events. Everyone's familiar with the Felix jumping out of the balloon at the edge of space? Yeah. Did everyone know what KitKat did? Yeah. Don't need to cover it, we all know?
So many people don't.
Okay, so Felix was going to jump on a Tuesday, yeah? And the winds were too high. So they said it would be too dangerous to jump, and they predicted that probably Saturday would be the day that we would jump. JWT and Mindshare thought, you know what we should do? We should create this funny, short little meme with a guy in a spacesuit sat on a sofa watching TV saying, have a break. Yeah? Great. This did so well in social. This did, you know, this one image did so well in social, people shared it so much that the guys at JWT and Mindshare thought, do you know what we should do? We should actually send a KitKat into space. So they contacted a guy who specializes in weather balloons. They bought a weather balloon, they bought a GoPro camera, they bought a little GPS device, they sellotaped a KitKat bar to a lollipop stick to the GoPro camera and sent the whole lot into space. It took them about 3 days to turn this around. So this went up, I think, on the Friday. 2 days. On the Friday it went up. The balloon gets to the edge of space, they get some lovely photographs of a KitKat in space, the balloon pops, comes down to Earth. One small problem, the GPS device failed, which we didn't know, so it took us a while to find the camera, so we had a few people around in fields going, no, no. We knew it was in a sort of general sort of couple of square miles, and we had the whole of Mindshare and JWT searching around. Great. But then we uploaded that video to YouTube, we uploaded the content to Facebook and Twitter, and this video, you know, this content went viral very quickly. People loved the idea, they grasped the concept. There was lots of press coverage. The guys at JWT estimate that the value of this media was about $10 million. It cost us about £700 for $10 million worth of value. We've seen this happen before. Everyone saw the Oreos blackout, yeah, at the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Oreos again generated millions of dollars worth of media from a very simple graphic that took seconds to do. But we forget that, think that this is, you know, easy to replicate. Well, actually, we had a team in place to do this. That the Oreos had a team of people sat there waiting for something to happen so that they could react to it. The same with the guys at JWT. They are in London, they are permanently on KitKat. They have a team of people that are just looking at stuff that's happening globally, and they react very quickly. So it doesn't just happen, you have to make it happen. Got a video for you.
KitKat break plans. Our specialist R&D department committed to improving your brain through technology and innovation. Please. This is our latest innovation. It's called the break band. Life today can sometimes feel like a race. We know that taking high-quality breaks on a regular basis can really help you. The break band vibrates to give you a gentle reminder to take a break every couple of hours. Here at KitKat, we believe every break counts. But why too hard, boys? This is an exciting area. Our conceptual zone pushes the very limits of breaking as we strive to reimagine the future here in this very room. We call this the Break Breaker, or Breaker for short. No matter where you are or what you're doing, it will help you make the most of your break. This state-of-the-art piece of tech syncs with 4.4, enabling you to take a break anywhere on the go. And with its based services, it can help find your nearest friends who are also having a break. It's the most social hub on the planet. This really is a great piece of kit. It's going to revolutionize the quality of the break. This is our mobile and user testing department. We focus a lot of our time on user experience. That's how we created our latest and best product to date, the soon-to-be-announced new KitKat 4.4F. It's even perfectionarier than our last. With the advancements in technology never stopping, sometimes we have to. Speaking of which, it's time for a well-earned break. So, If you'll excuse me, I'm off to my favorite part of the lab.